Hey everybody, happy Sunday. All right. Hey, happy Sunday. How's it going, everybody? Happy 71st birthday to the king of the flying V's, Michael Schenker. Yes, it's a hard solo. Sorry I didn't get it totally right, but you got the gist of it. Anyways, if you don't know who Michael Schenker is, because a lot of people come up to me after shows and say, "Who's your favorite guitar player?" Blah 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 blah. And I say Michael Schenker, and I get a look like this. Okay. But Michael Schenker is a legendary German guitarist. If you know the name Schenker, you know the Scorpions. Michael Schenker was the original recorded guitar player in the Scorpions when he was, I think, 16 years old, with his older brother Rudolf Schenker, who basically got him into the band and made a bunch of albums. And then he subsequently, I think the story was that Scorpions were opening for UFO, the British band that was a little bit bigger than them at the time. Scorpions, of course, catapulted past UFO, and hardly anyone knows who UFO is. They're one of my favorite bands. But what happened was UFO stole Schenker for their band, and their legendary 4 albums of UFO are some of my favorite albums of all time, especially Strangers of the Night, which has Michael Schenker on it. Little messed up guy after UFO. I mean, during UFO too. I mean, he left, and then he went back to the Scorpions for the Love Drive album and some touring. It must have been European. Then left again, and then made this album here. I started MSG. This was the album cover for. Oh no, it wasn't. It was a different album cover, but that's the logo for MSG, Michael Schenker Group. Years and years ago, I've met Billy Sheehan a few times before he was in David Lee Roth, and that he was in a band called his own band Talus in out of Buffalo, New York, and he used to play in Toronto a lot. And I used to talk to him. He's as you know, Billy's a phenomenal bass player, and he toured with UFO. Not with Schenker in it, but he was actually asked to be part of the rhythm section for the first Schenker album after UFO, and he and I believe Denny Carmassi from Heart, and I know he was in Montrose and a lot of bands. So the American, they had Billy and Denny Carmassi as their rhythm section, and Michael was so messed up at the time, and Billy told me this story when we were standing in the bar. I think we're 20 Grand West in Toronto, if you remember that place. And he was telling me this story how they couldn't find Michael, and his wife called up and said, "Where is he?" And the band went out and found him. They found him in some alleyway, smashed his guitar. He had cut his hair. He had longer hair in UFO. Now he had the shorter hair in the pictures on Michael Schenker Group album, and he cut all his hair off. And they messed him up. And he was messed up. They cleaned him up and got him back in. And then I think Billy and Denny had left by then, and they got another rhythm section in there. One historic note. Uh, UFO toured with Rush, and Schenker actually asked Neil and Geddy to be on the album, and they said it was great. Yeah, we'll do that. And then Michael apparently made some joke about, and we'll get Alex to make coffee, and you don't say stuff like that to the Rush boys about their brothers, so I don't think that happened. That might not be the way the story went, anyways. But and also I think Joey Kramer and Tom Hamilton were also asked to be on this album, or you know what I'm talking about. But it ended up being Simon Phillips, great British drummer, and Mo Foster, bass player, were the selected, out of 4 rhythm sections they had for that album. They had that. But Michael has cleaned up his act since then. It's a lot of years ago. He had some bad years in the 80s. He was actually part of Rat after Robin Crosby died. He was in Rat for a little while, and then he's out doing a bunch of stuff with different singers and that, and historic. He did the music of UFO last year on tour, and I haven't seen him in a long time, but I've seen a lot of video. Obviously, there's lots of video out there, and he's playing great, and more power to him in his 71st year, and he's playing better than ever. He's back to Gibson guitars. He's away from the Dean guitars, and well, that was, I think, some contractual thing, but I think they're going to make it a Michael Schenker Flying V. I think it's coming out soon, but the Flying V is his trademark. Another story was it's also his brother's trademark, Rudolf Schenker. I think what happened was he was playing a Les Paul, Michael, and one night in the Scorpions, and they broke a string because he was the lead player. Rudolf handed him the V, and they switched guitars because they had no spares because they were young and they had nothing back then. And then Michael fell in love with the V and didn't want to give it back. And then basically, there's not too many pictures of Michael Schenker without a Flying V. Let's just say that. So you might see the odd weird picture on the internet, but it's all V's for Schenker. And just talk about the Flying V for a second here. It can be either the most comfortable guitar to play or the most uncomfortable guitar to play. When you stick the V between your legs and play it like this, like Schenker does, it's actually quite comfortable. So, and you can actually see the entire fretboard up here. So I understand why he likes the Flying V's. Plus, they're probably, one of the coolest guitar shapes of all time, of course. Anyhow, Gibson Flying V's, yes. Anyways, happy... Cheers. Where's my cold coffee? Oh, here it is. Cheers. It's almost full, too. Jeez. Yeah, about 2 hours cold. Cheers. Cheers to you guys. How are we doing out there? Happy New Year. It is the new year. I think I said that last year. But anyway, last week. But anyhow, when do you stop saying Happy New Year? February? 2 weeks in. I'm going to say 2 weeks in. Because maybe you didn't see everybody, and you see somebody you didn't know in February, and you say Happy New Year, and then it dies off after that. I don't know. I don't care. March? Ever got a Happy New Year in March? No, I don't think so. But anyhow, Happy New Year to all you. It's still January. We just got into the double digits. Michael Schenker's on the 10th. Today's the 11th. And, I think I've had some rejuvenated energy about the year. There's some changes going on in some of the projects that I'm part of, but you'll hear about that later. But there's also, even Keep the Faith has gone down from a 6-piece. I'm going to tour this spring, summer with as a 5-piece, which is awesome. And I'm just gearing up right now, getting the gear together and stuff like that. But Bridge on Fire had something happen to them this weekend, and I'm gonna just a little word of advice these days for all you guys that play bars, and do the 2-week check is what I do. When I book a gig with the band, I call whoever, whether it be a promoter or the actual club or the manager of the club. In this case, it was the manager of the club. I called him or messaged him and said, hey, is everything okay for January blah blah blah. January 24th was the date, by the way, that we were supposed to play in Brantford, and the manager said he is no longer working with them, and good luck, and hopefully they honored your gig. They didn't. So this used to be quite a well established place. That's maybe going through some tough times, but they did not honor our booking on January 24th. So anybody who is coming to see us at an undisclosed place in Brantford, Ontario, which was my first gig actually with Bridge on Fire, is not happening on January 24th. So anybody, just hear it here now. The officially, I'll be posting some stuff on the Bridge on Fire social media this afternoon. But yeah, there will be no January 24th gig, which was kind of sad because it was kind of a coming together, and it was going to be a special gig. Let's just leave it at that. So they're going to try and find us another one, but I don't think it's going to happen timely. So we might see you sometime in February. Anyhow, other than that, just do the 2-week check, guys. Do the 2-week check. Don't just show up, because we would have probably showed up, and with the gear and everything, and someone else would have been there. But which has happened to me, a few times in my life. But you don't want that to happen. So yeah, do your 2-week check. It's also a good chance to reiterate how much you're going to get paid. What were your rider stuff you were going to get? Were you getting a deal? Were you getting food? Were you getting all that? And it's also good for the venue. The venue would like you to do that, because at least they know you're coming, that kind of thing. So I always did that just to reassure them, and that's part of building a good rapport with your the people that pay you. And anyhow, do that. Be on top of your stuff. Anyways, guys, happy New Year again, and happy birthday to Michael Schenker. Check out some Schenker. Check out the Love Drive album by Scorpions if you want to go in lightly. Don't check out Lonesome Crow, the first album of the Scorpions, which is very weird. Klaus Meine could barely sing English. Probably couldn't speak a word of it, but he couldn't barely sing English. There's a lot of operatic kind of stuff going on. But check that out, and definitely check out an album called Strangers in the Night if you don't know any of the UFO material. My favorite album of all time, and it's a live album, so it's kind of a greatest hits. So you get a good overview of what he did with UFO. And my favorite Michael Schenker group album, some people will argue with me about this, but it's MSG, because my favorite drummer, Cozy Powell, was on it. And one of the best singers for the Michael Schenker group was Gary Barden. Gary Barden? I know a lot of people have similar names to that in my life, yeah, but I think it's Gary Barden, yeah. God, I can't remember these things. It's terrible. I read that a million times on a liner note of an album. Anyhow, Happy New Year again. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. Enjoy. All the snow's gone up where I live. That's great. Over. Take it easy. See ya. Bye.